Minaya, do you want to help Deshaun out? It's gross domestic product. Does anyone know gross? Yeah, Gross. I'll write it out. So gross domestic product. And does anyone remember what this is measuring? Deshaun?
Production of goods and stuff like that, like agriculture and the sales of goods and stuff like that.
That's correct. It's measuring the total value of all the goods and services produced in the country at a given time. So if you didn't get that definition, if you could write that in your handout. And for the last question, does anyone remember what GDP has to do with recessions? Minaya? Okay, so yeah, what Minaya just said is correct. If GDP is high, that means that the nation is producing a lot of goods, and that means the economy is doing well. However, if GDP is low, that means the economy isn't doing so well because not that many goods are being produced and sold. Okay, so today we are going to do two objectives. So we're going to identify and describe the Hoover administration's policies following the crash in 1929. And we're also going to describe the response of American veterans to Hoover's economic policies, including the development of Hoover bills. So you'll see on the handout I gave you that there's a part 2. That is a graphic organizer where we're going to take notes. If you could put the drink away. Okay, so you'll see that there's 2 sections, Hoover's economic policy and the bonus army. I'm going to model on the board what I expect you guys to write in your notes. And I expect you to copy it down silently. So this is the first one, Hoover's economic policy. Okay. So Hoover didn't really think that the Great Depression was a big deal. He thought it was just going to be a temporary little thing. So he thought that people should be able to help themselves. And this is known as rugged individualism. So I'm going to write that definition up here on the board. Rugged individualism. And that is when people should be able to help themselves. So Hoover, go ahead. Yeah, so you should be writing that in the Hoover's economic policy section.
I see mug.
Oh, what can you read?
What's that?
Here?
Yeah.
Oh, so the term is known as rugged individualism, and that just means the idea that people should be able to help themselves.
You should know what that word is next.
Rugged, R-U-G-G-E-D. Okay. So yeah, so Hoover thought that people would be able to help themselves. So he didn't think that the government should be like helping the people who had become poor because of the Great Depression. Instead, he thought that charities should help those in need. And okay, so whatever it is that charities should help needy, and that's instead of the government. And so Hoover thought that if he helped businesses, it's both small sections, I'm not adding much more. Okay, so what Hoover thought was that if he helped businesses, everything would resolve itself. So instead of saying, like, I'm going to help the people who are actually poor, and who were hurt by the Depression. I'm going to help the businesses do better. And he thought that if the businesses were doing better, then all the other people would be doing better because they would have jobs. But in the meantime, many people were not doing well. Many lived in what were known as Hoovervilles, which are just shanty towns where the homeless lived. So when I say shanty towns, I just mean that these were like very poor houses. Sometimes they were tents, sometimes they were poorly constructed wood homes. So since there was no help from the government really, these people were like on their own, and so they were just living wherever they could, which became known as Hoovervilles. So does anyone have any questions about this section? Can I get a thumbs up if you understand them and a thumbs down if you don't? I'm going to wait till everyone has their thumbs up before moving on. You can put your head. Here, so if everyone could either put their thumbs up if they understand or thumbs down if they don't. Everyone can do that? So I'm going to leave this up here, but now we're moving on to the next box. I'm going to erase what's on the board. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the bonus army. So let me just make the chart up here for you to write your notes in. Hoover didn't really think that people needed help from the government. Were you unable to read anything? Which bullet?
Second one.
Second one, charity should help needy.
Thank you.
And that's instead of the government helping. You know, if anyone has any problems reading, just raise their hand and I'll read it again. Okay, so for the bonus army, we're going to start by defining who the bonus army were. So the bonus army were veterans who protested that they were not getting their bonuses. So to give you some context, Congress had said that for people who served in the military, they would get this big bonus in 1945. But as we were talking about over here, everyone was suffering because the economy was doing bad. So these people in the bonus army were saying, we don't want to wait till 1945 to get all this money. We want to get it now so we can actually live until then. Because they were struggling to survive. And so in June 1932, they marched to D.C. and demanded their bonuses now. So in June 1932, they marched to D.C. and were demanding their bonuses now instead of having to wait till 1945. And so now I'm going to talk about how Hoover responded. Hoover was not cool with these people protesting. So first Hoover sent in the police to break them up. But these people were veterans from the army. They couldn't be stopped that easily. And so what ended up happening is that Hoover then sent in the army. and they're trying, and they're demanding money now. And Hoover's response was to send in the army to stop them. Many people were outraged by this. They thought it was ridiculous that Hoover would respond in such a harsh way. So now I'm going to make sure you guys understand by asking you some questions. Okay. So first we're going to just check for clarification. What did Hoover think was the best response to the Great Depression? If people could raise their hands and give an answer. Adriana, what did Hoover think should be done to help people in the Great Depression? Based off of our notes. Okay, that's good. So what Hoover thought was that the people should help themselves. And if they really needed help, who could they go to? Does anyone know? Deschamps?
Charities, businesses.
Yeah, to charity. So pretty much he said, this is not government's problem. If you need help, go to private individuals and charities. Okay, so how do you feel about this? Do you think Hoover responded in a proper way? Does anyone have an opinion? Armaine, do you have an opinion? Do you think Hoover did the right thing? Are you sure you don't, did you think it was good or bad? Okay, does anyone else have an opinion? Are you still, was there something you couldn't read on the board?
What? Say bonuses?
Yeah, so the bonus army was demanding bonuses. Okay, so Ileana, how do you feel about what Hoover did? Do you think it was fair that he was like, people should